last Victoria was ready, the Fat Controller came to see her. "Edward will take you to Thomas's Junction," he said. "Then go with Thomas to meet Toby and Henrietta, who you will work with." Victoria's wheels hummed happily on the rails. "It's wonderful to be running again," she thought. Edward introduced her to Boko at his own station, and they soon reached Thomas's Junction. Thomas and the Fat Controller were waiting for them. Thomas's driver was amazed at the change in Victoria. "I hope you feel better," the Fat Controller told her. "You certainly look better than you did when we first saw you." "I feel wonderful. Thank you, sir," smiled Victoria. Victoria was coupled behind Annie and Clarabel, and they set off up the valley. At the station by the river, an inspector met them. "Terence is in trouble," he said. "I'll ride in your cab, Thomas, but go carefully until we know what has happened." A little way up the line, Terence's owner was building a barn. The lane to the barn ran along the top of a cutting just outside the tunnel. That afternoon, Terence had been pulling a trailer loaded with stones for the barn, when a boulder had fallen into the lane from the verge. Terence swerved towards the edge of the cutting to avoid the boulder, and of course, the trailer followed. Suddenly, the trailer's wheels hit a muddy patch and slipped sideways towards the railway. The weight of the stone dragged the trailer further over the edge. Terence tried to hang on, but the trailer broke away and bumped down the steep hill towards the railway. Luckily, there was a large bush on the cutting side, and the trailer ran into it and stopped, balancing dangerously. The heavy stone tumbled down the slope and landed beside the railway with a crash. "Thomas's train is due," gasped Terence. His owner ran to telephone a warning to the station, and his call was just in time. With the inspector in his cab, Thomas moved cautiously along the line. By the time they reached the place of the accident, the farmer had managed to fasten the trailer so that it would not move. The inspector made sure that the building stones had not damaged the railway. "All right," he told Thomas's driver as he climbed back into the cab. "Proceed at caution. Please, and drop me next to the signal box so that I can report what's happened." Thomas and the inspector reached the top station safely and found Toby and Henrietta waiting for them. Victoria and Henrietta liked each other at once and soon became the best of friends. "There cannot be many railways," announced the Fat Controller, "who can run a complete train of stock as old as Toby, Henrietta, and Victoria. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you 3 cheers for Toby's vintage train. I am very proud of all 3 of you, and I know you will be a credit to me." Now Victoria is as happy as can be. She helps Henrietta to take workmen to and from the quarry, and at other times you will see her with Thomas, Annie, and Clarabel running happily along the valley. She knows she is very lucky. "This is much better than being a summer house in an orchard," she sometimes thinks to herself. "It's great to be useful again." I think we can be sure, can't we, that Victoria will be useful for many years to come.